Between the Bars, the BMX podcast. I'm Seth, and
I'm Shane.
yep, Shane's on the phone here. We're doing this remotely. This is just a crazy ass idea I had to just start a podcast. I mean, I think I messaged you, Shane, and said, "Hey, you want to do a podcast?" And you're like, "Hell yeah!" And here we are.
Let's do it.
So, episode number one. We don't really have any idea what we're doing here, so we're just trial and error. But we're going to basically interview each other this first one, and later on we'll have guests, some writers, maybe some industry influencers, as far as brand owners, stuff like that. So that's what y'all are getting into. So do you want to start with some questions for me, or do you want me to start with some questions for you, Shane?
You can go with some questions first if you want to.
All right. Well, how about you just introduce yourself first and let everyone that's listening know exactly who you are.
I'm Shane Smith. I like tater tots.
A lot.
A little more than a lot.
Yeah, that is true. You're a connoisseur. So, like, where are you from? Let's start with that.
From Hermitage, Pennsylvania. Born and raised here. It's right on the line of Ohio.
So your local then is Wedgwood Ramps, correct?
Yeah, Youngstown, Ohio.
And how many years have you actually been riding at Wedgwood?
Probably 18 years.
18. That's a long time.
Too long.
Too long? I don't know if it ever could be too long, but so you said 18 years, so that would put you at how old when you first got into riding BMX?
I was 12 when I first started riding.
Okay, and what exactly got you into it?
It was more. I rode with a buddy one time who invited me to go riding bikes downtown Sharon, Pennsylvania, and I watched a kid that was about 10 years older than me jump up and do a bar spin, and ever since then, that's all I wanted to do. I was hooked. I learned how to do a feeble grind. Second day I ride my bike, and just that adrenaline from doing a trick.
Just sparked.
Yeah.
So I guess this takes me to my next question. First trick that you actually landed that had you really hyped, what was that?
A feeble grind.
That was a feeble grind.
On a ledge that your tire barely was about to touch the ground.
I think that's how a lot of people start. And if they tell you different, then they're probably lying to you. But
oh, yeah.
So as far as inspiration, both in and outside of the BMX community, like who is someone that you cite for that? Like who is the person that inspires you the most? Like we can break that up, and we can start with outside of BMX, and then we can move into who it is within BMX.
Outside BMX, I'd have to say my grandmother.
Okay.
She's no longer with us now, but she would always hype me up before every contest, before every jam, anytime I went out riding. She'd always make sure to cook me breakfast and give me a fortune cookie before the jam.
Oh, okay. I'm gonna pause right there with a fortune cookie. I mean, if anyone that doesn't know who we are exactly, me and Shane, we talk on a regular basis, and his wife is always sending him horoscopes. So I guess this horoscope thing that your wife sends, I mean, that kind of takes it back to the beginning with the fortune cookies and with your grandmother.
Yeah.
So.
Well, and my wife kind of started that tradition again, and she.
With the fortune cookies.
Yep, she does the same thing for me.
Oh.
She'll cook me breakfast, and then she'll well, sometimes she'll cook breakfast, and then she'll give me a fortune cookie before I hit the road.
Oh, well, shout out to Sabrina on that one.
It's kind of cool. Reminds me of my grandmother again.
Hell yeah. Now, that was outside of BMX wise. What about as far as within the community? Who do you, I guess, look up to as a rider or in general when it comes to BMX?
I would have to say Van Homan. I've always looked up to Van Homan ever since I watched Criminal Mischief. His part in that, I always wanted to be a street rider like him.
And this past weekend, we actually went to Swamp Fest, and you actually got to meet him, didn't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember we were teasing him, actually, and he didn't want to. I don't think he really wanted to go up there. I mean, he wanted to, But Shane is like, oh no, I'll wait. I'm like, dude, no, let's go. Come on. And was it me that took the picture of that one?
I think you and TJ both took one.
Yeah. All I remember is when I took that picture, you were like a kid in a candy store. I mean, just the look on your face was just undescribable. So
It's funny. I've met a lot of riders back in my day, and the one I've never met Van Home until last weekend.
well, shout out Trey Jones for Swamp Fest. You make dreams come true. So
Yeah.
Trey, if you hear this, you made Shane's dream come true. So is there anyone else that you want to cite as an inspiration?
Outside of the BMX world, I'd have to say my wife.
Okay.
She's just always stood behind me, no matter what I did. No matter how outgoing I was on things or crazy things got or ideas that I had, she always stood behind me and was there for me. So I definitely have to say her.
And it's always a good thing to have someone like that in your corner because, I mean, it keeps you pushing, keeps you grinding, and
Keep your head straight.
Exactly. That is true. All right, I'm going through my questions here pretty quick, actually. Let's go back to the trick thing. What's your newest learn?
My newest learn
Yeah.
would probably be a feeble down whip 180.
Yeah, I know you're heavy on the whips. Like that's if you got a bag of tricks, you're pulling that out. So, and they're just
It's one of them tricks. I just love them.
well, you definitely kill them too. So that's a good thing.
Thank you.
What about your worst bike related injury? I mean, and when did that take place?
My worst injury?
Yeah.
I'd have to say I was 19 and I was doing a can jam here at Wedgwood. It actually, Wedgwood for people who don't know, used to be called Stomping Grounds back in the day. And then it got bought out and turned into Wedgwood. So right after it turned into Wedgwood, I did a can jam on the quarter pipe and I clipped my front tire on the coping. It went straight to head and neck and shoulder.
Mm.
And I dislocated my shoulder from my collarbone, tore all my ligaments and muscle off the back of my shoulder, had to go to rehab. It took a little while to get back into it again.
Now, when you say it took a little while to get back into it, how long was that?
Maybe 6 weeks to 8 weeks. I pushed it. I shouldn't have got back into it that soon, but I was a kid and I didn't want to stay off my bike.
Yep.
I was walking around with one of them things or the slings that you hold your arm in, and I was able to take my arm out of that and I could fakie my friend's bike, but I couldn't bunny hop. So we'd all go riding downtown and I would still try to fakie, and I pushed my limit on that one. I mean, you pay for it when you get a little bit older, but
yeah, definitely.
No regrets.
Yep, that's the way you gotta live life, no regrets. So, as far as parts go, because I mean, I've seen it firsthand at Swamp Fest, you do break shit, parts wise. What part do you break the most, you think, on your bike?
Oh, God. I think the parts I go through the most are probably my pedals. I mean, I go through pedals every couple weeks. I'm always grinding them down. But I seem to have a problem tweaking my wheels all the time.
Okay.
And I think that's because of the tail lips.
It very well.
Especially the tail lip drops.
Yep, that seems very logical too.
So I'm constantly truing my wheels. You know, every week to 2 weeks, I got my bike up and truing my wheels on it. I'd have to say that. Been tweaking my back wheel. I've gone through a couple wheels in the last 2 years.
Okay, now you're talking about trimming wheels yourself. I think this would be a good spot to plug in the new shop at Wedgwood at 1739 South Raccoon Road, Austintown, Ohio, 44515. And Shane, what's the name of that shop?
Rise and Grind Bike Shop.
Yep, and Shane is the new proud owner of that bike shop. And if you've never been to Wedgwood, I suggest highly that you go up there and check it out. Go say hi to Shane. Now, do you guys have set hours right now that you guys are open?
Well, right now we're open from 4 to it's Wednesday through Friday, 4 to 10, and Saturday and Sunday noon to 10.
Okay. So y'all got the hours. Go up there and say hi to Shane, buy some shit, and support the local BMX community there in Youngstown area.
We got some riot gear too as well.
Yep, that they do. I made sure of that one. So buy some riot gear. Not literally riot gear, but riot merchandise.
We should probably get a shield or something in there.
Yeah, I could probably make that happen, honestly.
Put a Swamp Fest sticker on it.
Yeah, we needed one. Truly, we really needed. If you've never been to Swamp Fest, I highly suggest putting it on your bucket list before you die, because if you go there, you might die. So it might be the last thing you ever do. I mean, it was wild. Like, it blew my mind. It was the first time ever going down there, but I'm glad I went. Actually, me, Shane, TJ, and my wife, and Mikey all went down there, and it was a hell of a time. It really was.
Whatever you do, don't bring your kids.
Yeah, well, yeah, probably a good thing not to do that. But I mean, I honestly, my 3 oldest, I probably would bring them, but I would be so paranoid that they get hit by a firework or something, and I don't know.
Well, that's what you didn't know, if there was a mortar flying. You had to keep your head open all the time, because it was either a mortar flying, a can of beer, or a shoe.
That is true. Yeah, a can of beer. There's lots of flying beers around there.
I think at one point somebody was throwing a dildo around.
Yeah, there was. There's actually day 2. They put it on the mound at the end of the Dance Comp roller coaster rail, which shout out Dan's. And I seen some other video where they were throwing it around. I think maybe even day 1. I don't even know what day it was. Everything's a blur. Yeah, it was just crazy. So,
well, did you happen to see the kid that ate the corn dog that was thrown around?
Well, I remember Catfish was giving out prizes. This is right before the Dan's event, the roller coaster rail, and they gave him a corn dog, and everyone was saying don't eat it, and he ended up, I think he actually put the Beast tea stuff on it, and he ate it.
Yeah.
Is that the one you're talking about?
Yep.
Yeah.
I thought Catfish was gonna blow chunks.
Yeah, I sure the hell wouldn't. I was probably about 20 feet away from that, and I was too close even. I wouldn't have even, no. That corn dog was not a good look.
No.
So I guess let's get back to the questions here. Favorite park to ride? I mean, you've probably rode quite a few different parks here in the Midwest. But is there any park that really stands out to you, as other than, you said you rode at Wedgwood for 18 years, or the location back when it was even stomping grounds, but is there a park that really sticks out to you that's your favorite?
Now, can it be a park that's no longer around?
That it can.
All right. I actually have 2 parks. So my local used to be, when I was a kid growing up, was Section 8 Skate Park.
Okay.
That park was, to this day, was still the nicest, best park I've ever ridden. And I'd love to go back and try to ride it again. Sadly, they closed down years ago. But it was a biker-friendly skate park.
Mm-hmm.
And if I had to say my second favorite skate park, they closed down too as well, would be the Flow 2 in Columbus.
Okay.
It was inside of an airplane hangar, and they would have the Dirty East contests, and everybody would just go ape. There was so much. They had a huge street section in there, huge park section, foam pit. It was a good time.
Oh yeah, sounds like it would be. I have heard of the Flow, because I mean, I'm originally from just north of Columbus, about 45 minutes to an hour. It'd technically be northeast, and I never went to the Flow or anything like that, but I have heard that it was a pretty cool place.
Well, see, and I didn't even know they had 3 flows.
Well, see, I didn't know that either, because you just said something about Flow 2, so the one I knew about must have been the original Flow then.
See, I knew they had 2 of them, but then somebody was telling me, I guess there was 3, and the one that I had gone to would have been the second Flow in the hangar, but they moved the locations 3 times.
Oh, gotcha. Yeah, see, I didn't know nothing about all that, because from what I remember, it was in like a warehouse. So that maybe that was the original one, or maybe it was the third. I don't know.
See, that's what, like, the one that I went to, the second one it was like an airplane hangar. It was huge.
Well, anyone
those jams.
Go ahead.
What's that?
Oh, go ahead.
those jams that they used to throw there, the Dirty East contests, and even Section 8, just having band nights and just how the BMXers got along and everybody was. I mean, that's how BMX. That's what BMX was back in the day.
I mean, and honestly, I think that's a point that we're trying to get back to, and I think it coincides pretty good as far as the community aspect of it all. I mean, I know there's always been I guess, not really a war, but skaters and BMX never really always got along. And I know there's some parts you can't even ride bikes at, it's purely skate, which I think is bullshit, but that's my opinion. Everyone has that.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think at least within the biking community, I've yet to meet anyone that wasn't cool as hell. So I mean, from what you're describing, that's day one type stuff right there. That's how it's been. So.
Well, another shout out I get to give too is Mike's Bike Park. I just recently started going down there. It would have been October, I think was the first time I went down there and met you guys.
Yep. Yep.
It was, the scene down there is just something different. The park is such a fun little park to ride. The people there, the workers, everybody there is so friendly. And it doesn't matter what level you are on. You could be the best rider in that park, and you could be some kid who's just starting. Everybody treats everybody equally there, and that's what BMX is. I mean, it doesn't need to be a competition between everybody. I mean, we all need to get along, and we all share the same interest in something. So going down, any chance I get, I try to go down to Dayton and ride that skate park.
Which usually when you come down and we're doing filming or whatever, because normally we try to ride the street and get some clips that way, but when it's raining, we're guaranteed we're probably hitting Mike's. So,
oh yeah.
So yeah, just to reiterate that, shout out Mike's Bike Park, and I'm really glad it's technically, I guess, my local, even though I'm in between Dayton and Cincinnati, and it is a cool little place. I honestly never even knew it was there until me and you started hanging out and filming and stuff. And Mikey, that lives in Dayton, one of my other riders, shout out Mikey, by the way. I know you're probably going to listen to this, so this is your plug. Michael Rodriguez.
Mikey.
Yep. I have no words for that dude. He's cool as hell. I got sidetracked. I don't even know what I was talking about. But anyway, so I guess on to the next thing. See. What does your music playlist look like when you ride? What's some of the, which I know for a fact it's a little bit all over the place. But what's some of the tracks that really get you hyped and get you going? Because and honestly, when we go and film, that's one of the biggest. Anyone out there that does film a rider and gets clips for him, I want to know personally: do they wear earbuds or do they not? Because every time I'm trying to get Shane's attention after he goes and hits something or does a run at something, I'm trying to get his attention, and literally he's just off in La La Land because he can't hear me. So I'm basically trying to do sign language to him. But I want to know. I want to take a poll. How many riders use earbuds when they ride and they film? So if you have some kind of response to that, if you hear this podcast, hit us up on our Instagram. That's Between the Bars podcast, and let us know what you think. I want answers. So back to what I was asking you though. What does those tracks look like?
Man, I got a mixture of different stuff that I listen to. Shout out to Steve Cuesta. His old part back in Section 8, Madonna, the song by Madonna, Hung Up. Definitely listen to that. Some 50 Cent. Anything that's really 2000s, early 2000 hip-hop, I'm listening to. I also like a lot of Hot Water Music. They've been my favorite band since I can remember. I've got to go see them live. I'm actually going to see them again here in about a month. But it's just a mixture of everything.
And folks, it really is a mixture of everything. Like DMX, I mean, down to
Nelly.
Yeah, Nelly. That's another. What the last time? I can't remember where we were. It might have been. It wasn't at Wedgwood. It might have been last time we were at Mike's. What song was it that you and TJ were trying to find? I just remember briefly you were saying something about I need to find that song or download that song or something. Do you remember what song that was?
No, I can't remember.
Because I remember I was trying to get you to go do a clip, I think, and you're like, I gotta find the song. Like you and TJ were talking about whatever song it was. I don't know. That's neither here or there, I guess. But I just
I do remember the first time I came and rode Mike's when I was trying that was it Bar to Ice on the sub box,
yep,
and DMX was playing.
yeah,
And I remember you threw DMX on the video.
yep, that I did. Yeah, I posted it straight to the story right after I got that clip, and I was like, I feel like that's the fitting musical background to put to it. So, all right. So, what about hobbies and interests outside of riding bikes? And I know you've already said tater tots, so that's not one we can list.
Well, outside of BMX, there is no other hobbies.
So
No,
you heard it first, guys. BMX is everything here.
enjoy long walks on the beach,
Yep.
romantic walks on the beach.
Yeah. Okay.
Um,
I can get behind that.
I don't know. I like hanging out with my kids, my wife, going out with them. I really do enjoy building ramps and working on ramps.
And I must say he's good at it too. Wedgwood, they tore out some sections before their jam. I was up there the weekend before that, and Shane. I mean, you had some help, correct? Some people were up there
Yeah.
helping you, and they just completely demolished what they had and built new on certain sections, and they turned out amazing. I mean, I'm not much of a ramp rider myself. I don't really classify myself as much of a rider, but because I can't do jack shit really, but I try. But it's just getting on the bike for me. But anyway, he's very good at what he does when it comes to building these ramps. So maybe that's something you explore in the future too, Shane, where you can go out and build some ramps for some people.
It's not bad. I used to build ramps for gyms. Do you ever see Ninja Warrior?
Yeah, like the challenge thing where they jump from like obstacles and stuff.
Yep. You know that big quarter pipe? It's a big over transition quarter pipe that they run up at the end.
Yeah, like the vert wall basically.
Yep. But it comes back in. It's got an oververt on it.
Yeah, it curves back or over.
I've actually built quite a few of those for gyms that wanted to do the same thing like that.
Really? See,
Yep.
See, y'all learned it here, and I learned it here first. That's new knowledge to me. I didn't know about none of that. So is that like gyms local to like the PA, Ohio line area, or where were those at?
Yeah, just local gyms around our area. There was one in Sharpsville. There was one in Sharon. There was one in Brookfield, Ohio,
Okay.
and one in Greenville. Those would have been the only four.
Okay. Yeah, I did not know that. That's crazy. So that leads me to my next question. Most of the people that's listening probably going to know that you ride for my brand, Riot. How about you tell the people how that exactly came about and what's the backstory of that and what got you put on with my brand in general?
All right, that's a crazy story.
It is a crazy story, but I'm here for it.
I remember waking up and I had an Instagram notification. I had a follow from you and an Instagram notification talking about you were liking my style of riding and wanting to ride for your team. And I think it took a month and a half or so before we actually met up.
Yep, because I mean, I was trying to. Well, I think you were trying to get me to come out that way, and I was like, "No, I need you to come out this way." And yeah, and with just scheduling and life and stuff, and yeah, it took about a month and a half.
And we're about 4 hours apart, so I mean, you're in South Ohio.
Yep.
And I'm in Northeast PA.
Yep.
So once we finally got, I wasn't skeptical at first, or I was a little bit at first. I just didn't know what I was getting into.
Yeah.
And then when we met up with you, and it was like everybody knew each other already.
Yep.
We all started riding, and I think since that day we've probably talked on the phone every single day since then.
Yeah, I mean, maybe not per se a phone call wise, but Shane's in my DMs. So he's every day we're talking back and forth, whether it's new ideas that we have for filming or just my brand in general. He's we're always discussing. Let's put it that way.
Honestly, I could say if it wasn't for Riot and the push that Riot's given me, I wouldn't be back at the level that I'm at now. Because I took a hiatus for a little while. I had a couple kids, and I was working and stopped riding and got a little overweight. And I finally got back in shape and started riding again. And then that's when you got a hold of me. And it's been a constant push, not in a bad way, but in a good way, to get me to go up and above my limits.
That's a good thing to hear. Now, when we're talking about your hobbies and stuff, you didn't I guess say that one of your pastimes is brushing your hair.
Oh yeah.
Brushing. Yeah, Mikey will get that reference too. I told him that when we do this podcast, I was going to tease you a little bit about that aspect of everything. So, Mikey,
More
that's
so
for
just
you.
massaging the scalp.
Yeah. Well, you
You
guys.
know what happens when all the hair falls out?
Yeah. Well, like me and you've talked. You said you left it on a park bench somewhere when you were younger.
And it never came back.
Well, no, you gotta go find it. We'll find it one day. Maybe, like I said, maybe we'll be riding the street in Dayton filming or something, and it'll just come blowing through like a tumbleweed or something. Who knows?
I was just gonna say like the old West.
Yep. Alrighty. Well, what about new endeavors that you got going on? Is there anything new? I mean, obviously you have the shop that you just opened up at Wedgwood about a month ago. Is there anything else new going on?
Other than that, no. Just riding, working out, trying to help Wedgwood revamp itself. It kind of went down a little bit, and we're trying to help get the ramps fixed back up, get everything back in working order, back in shape, and it seems to be working out pretty well. We just had a fundraiser jam. It was 2 weeks ago, and we had way more people than we thought we were going to have. There ended up being 7 BMX frames given away. So many sponsors helped throw in to get this thing going. There was no profit whatsoever to anybody on it. All the money went straight to building these ramps. And we ended up making $21.85, I think is what it was, just from everybody coming to go towards the ramps. And we only charge $15 at the door for riders. Spectators are free.
And I'll say I wasn't able to make that, but I wish I could have because it was for a good cause, and they completely blew it out of the water. I mean, I've seen the recap video. Actually, I just watched the recap video that someone posted on YouTube. It was actually a couple days ago they posted it, I think, and it looked like a good time.
It definitely was.
Now, as far as events go, you got anything else coming up that you're going to be headed to, or like obviously we just came back from Swamp Fest.
Yeah, I want to go back to Swamp Fest.
Mentally, I'm still in Florida. I'm still at Swamp Fest. That's where I'm at. I'll be there until I go back too. So
now there's Riot's got a jam coming up May 4th.
Yep, May 4th at noon. We'll be at Wedgwood for Riot at Wedgwood. So if you're listening to this, this is the first announcement. I'm currently working on getting all the sponsors on board for the co-sponsoring. Actually, I just talked to Wedgwood before this podcast, and we're working out a food vendor. So come out, support the local scene. They're in the Youngstown area. The Keystone Crew, they're involved in this. So support them too. They're local to the area. I know they're out of Pittsburgh, right, Shane?
Yeah, yep.
But I mean, to me, Pittsburgh, Youngstown, Akron, that whole area, I mean, that's the community around that way. So we're gonna be doing some cool stuff there. I'm working on getting a frame to raffle off. It's just gonna be a fun time. So come out and see all of us, see Shane, see the new bike shop.
Yeah, shop will be open.
Get some Riot gear. We'll be giving away stuff throughout the whole jam. There will be a cover fee to get in the door. But other than that, bring your bike and have a hell of a time. So, do you have questions for me, I guess? Because I know you came into this before I even had my questions ready. Because I was just going to wing the whole thing, but I was like, nah, I better write stuff down. So you told me you had questions. And we're about 30 minutes into the podcast right now, so I think it's probably a good time to switch it over to you and let you ask me some questions.
All right, you ready?
I can't say I'm ready, but I'm here.
All right, well, why don't you tell us a little bit about yourself?
Well,
What made you want to start Riot?
Well, actually, Riot is a thing from about 10 years ago I started. Um, I used to be in BMX when I was younger, probably about from like 11, 12, 13 up till I was 16 and figured out what cars were, and then I was into cars. But in 2012, I started Riot with the idea of doing clothing and parts. I did about a year run of clothing, and it went really well. I literally at that time I lived in Fountain, Ohio, which is just northeast of Columbus, and I sold out of those T-shirts. I mean, just locally, and it wasn't even to BMX riders. Honestly, like just people liked the brand name. They liked what I was doing with the shirts as far as designs go. I mean, that's how that started. I was getting into doing parts, and I found out that we were going to have my first son, and financially it just wasn't there. So I took a 10-year hiatus up until this past, it had been September, actually, this past summer of 2023, about July. My son decided that he wanted to start BMX racing. And I was like, all right, well, we'll see how that goes. And he started doing that. And I was like, well, this is a perfect time for me to relaunch my brand. So come October, September, October, or whatever, around that time span, I decided to just hit the ground running with it. And now we're talking about it on this podcast. And it has grown tremendously over the last like 5 months.
I have to say so.
Like literally, it's been a crazy ride, and if this is what it's going to be like, I'm definitely not stopping. That's for damn sure. I mean, building it back up from nothing has been a journey in its own. Just and the people I've met along the ways in the last 5 months of doing of relaunching the brand. I'm not really heavy on the riding side of stuff myself. I mean, I do pedal around. I try to ride it a little bit. I'm just not at Shane level at all. Actually, my kids probably ride better than I do, but we're working on it. So, I mean, that's basically how Riot got started. It was just a dream I had. I mean, it's been tatted on me for 10 years. So, I mean, it's something that never really left. I just took the hiatus from it, and now we're here.
So, with you talking about that, all the places you've been and the people you've met because of the last couple of months, where's some places you've been? Where's Riot gone?
Well, honestly, Riot as a name, the brand name itself, it's in, I want to say, rider wise, as far as sponsorship goes, I think it's in 4 different countries right now, which is crazy to me because if you had told me 10, 11 years ago that I'd be sponsoring riders in Canada, Colombia, or even in Europe, I'd be like, no, you're crazy. Like, that's not going to happen. But like I said, it is, and we're plugging away at it and trying to add some more riders when we can. Shout out Thomas over out in Croatia, I guess. And honestly, you could show me a map, I wouldn't even know where the hell Croatia is. But I mean, I met him through Instagram, and super cool dude. He's progressing very quickly, and like I said, just we're in Canada, Colombia, the U.S., and actually, I mean Nigeria. That's another one.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yep, Dami. Which if you hear this and I did not say your name correctly, I fully apologize right now. But Damilar, he's in Nigeria, badass fucking rider. I mean, he is crazy.
Oh, he's a shredder.
He is crazy on the bike. When I first seen him, I was like, holy shit. And actually, I seen him on New Year's, so online, of course. But yeah, I mean, it's it's all over right now. It blows my mind how quickly it just spread like wildfire. It really did.
With that ambition that going into it.
Yeah, that is true. That does. I mean, there's no days off. Literally, I work a regular 9 to 5 job. I wake up in the morning. I check, which on social we're just on Instagram right now. I check the social, and that's usually very very busy, I guess, with whether it be messages or just comments or videos and stuff that people liked of ours. And I check my email. I go to work, and any time that I have at work, which hopefully my boss doesn't hear this, but I'm working on Riot stuff. Legit, like it's the only time I'm not is when I'm sleeping, and that honestly doesn't really feel like it's very often I'm sleeping. It's
Yeah.
I come home, and my wife gets irritated at me because I'm literally working on Riot stuff. That's my wife. I have eight kids in total. They keep me busy too, so I gotta find a good, I guess, balance, which I think I do pretty well with it all. But yeah, it's my life. I'm dedicating it to it, and that's all there is.
Well, what's cool is you involve your kids into what you're doing too, as well.
Exactly.
So you're not just
Exactly. Yeah. The next generation under us. We're not old by no means. We're both in our early to mid 30s technically. I'm 33. You're 34. But the generation under us is what's going to fuel the next set of riders, the next set of brands, the next everything when it comes to BMX. And that's what I want to make sure they have a solid, I guess, foundation to keep building on. I mean, the guys that were before us, they set the pathway for what we're doing now. And that's pretty much what I want to do for the next generation too.
I agree. I couldn't agree any more with you on that one. Now, so that was coming to my next question. What were some of your goals and expectations when it came to Riot?
As far as
you
like
just answered some of that.
As far as like starting it was my goals.
Yeah.
My goals was just to put out product. And to be honest with you, I was 21, I think then. Yeah, 21. And I really didn't have, I guess, the mindset that I do now that I'm older. So I just wanted to put out product and, have the name, basically. But as I've relaunched the brand and now I have kids of my own, I've kind of realized that, it's not just about, having the baddest fucking brand out there. It's about giving back to the community, making sure that the kids have interest and keep an interest in BMX. That way the whole sport itself can grow. Because, BMX is a niche thing. So, therefore, there's not like it's like football or something. Like, you got all these different football teams all over the world. And you got fans for that. BMX is very small in comparison to other stuff.
Yep.
And the more we can grow it, maybe one day it'll be, we're in the Olympics now, I guess. They're doing BMX in the Olympics, even though it's kind of a touchy subject for some. But
yeah.
Anyway, positively that BMX can grow, I'm all for it.
I agree. And keeping that younger generation, just keeping them happy, keeping them, some of them kids, they get nervous when they get around other riders, and then it might push them to jump out of the sport.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, and this past weekend is a perfect statement for this. I get nervous around these other riders in the industry that are pros and stuff. I didn't take my bike to Swamp Fest, but I was basically going to film and experience it, and I figured I probably wouldn't really get much of a chance to ride. Plus, most of the shit there was so fucking crazy, it was beyond my skill level. But, even as an adult, I still get nervous around, and that's the thing, even at Swamp Fest, everyone was really supportive, as far as the different skill levels that are there. There's young kids there, probably like 8 or 9 even, that was riding with these pros and stuff, and, I've seen just BMX love, I guess is what it would be. and like I said, that's a good thing.
That's what it's all about. I understand with the getting nervous around, especially around bigger riders and things like that, but it wasn't until somebody told me that they're just another person too.
That's very true.
That it kind of clicked. It doesn't matter your skill level. It doesn't at all. It's just what you're out there doing and enjoying it.
And I'll 110% vouch on that one right there. That is correct. That's what it's all about. Just getting out there and doing what you love to do. And actually, I live in a really small little town in southern Ohio, and I was just outside riding my bike, and I have a school kind of across the street from me, and I venture over there, and that's where I try to work on some more like flatland stuff. And there's 2 kids on a bicycle and 1 on a scooter there yesterday, and they see my bike, and they're like, "Oh, that's cool. I love your bike, this and that." And I got talking to him. I was like, "Well, what kind of bike are you riding and stuff?" And the one kid had a older Hara, and he was actually pretty decent. He was probably maybe 13, 14. He wasn't that old even. He's probably like maybe 12 or 13 max. But just seeing them out there, and I told him before I left and went back home, I was like, I'm just glad to see you guys out here riding. So, I told him, I was like, yeah, I have a brand, a BMX brand, blah, 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 and they were just completely fascinated by that. But that's the main thing, you just gotta keep them interested in it, and seeing them out there doing that was like, just icing on the cake for me. So
I couldn't agree more. Now, let me ask you this one. I see you picked up a bunch of new people on the team too.
yeah, you're gonna put me on the spot on this one, aren't you?
What's that?
So you're gonna put me on the spot on this one, aren't you?
So who's some of the new faces that are on the team?
Well, it depends on how far back we're going, because like I said, we just relaunched about five and a half months ago, so technically everyone's kind of new. But
yeah,
like I had already mentioned, Thomas Kotnick, and once again, if I mispronounced that, which me and him actually had a discussion about this, because I knew we were going to do the podcast. And I told him, I said, I read these questions ahead of time that you had, some of them. So I'm like, all right, well, he's the newest one, so I need to be able to not be able to like butcher his name. So I probably did anyway. So Thomas, if you're listening, shout out to you. He's probably the newest one. There is a couple others that I've been talking to about maybe a partial sponsorship. Well, one of them also, Dalton. What's his last name?
I can't pronounce his last name.
Oh, can you spell it?
No. I don't have it up.
Okay, well, Dalton, you know who we're talking about. It's you, bud. So he's I got him just kind of testing the waters, seeing what all he can throw down and stuff. From what I've heard, he's very dedicated and he loves the brand. So
it's Dalton McRoberts.
McRoberts, yeah. How did I not know that?
It. Yeah.
I Dalton, I fully apologize if you hear this podcast, but
I apologize too because I had a brain fart and I've been riding with him every other day for the last couple months.
That's what I'm saying. You know him pretty well. So yeah. Actually, I met him at Wedgwood, and he's giving me some pointers on because I was trying to learn how to do bar spins, and I was just grabbing the seat, and I had one foot on my peg. I wasn't doing it traditionally like how y'all do them, like jump up and do them and stuff. And he's trying to give me pointers on that, and I thought that was cool as hell. That and it goes back to the whole doesn't matter what your skill level is, people still are caring enough to give you pointers and not just fucking be jackasses to you and just deter you from doing what you're enjoying doing. So
well, that's one thing I got to say about Dalton. Even when I just met him maybe a year ago, and ever since I've met him, he's always been helping everybody out up here. He even helped my son out. So my son started out riding BMX, and then he started getting into scootering, and he wanted a new deck. And there was a small bike shop in the skate park already, and Dalton traded in his skateboard for a scooter deck to give to my son.
Really? See, I didn't know about all that. That's cool.
Yeah.
Well, Dalton, if you hear this, shout out to you. You're the real MVP. I know, like I said, he's picked up some shirts and stuff too from the shop of the brand, and like I said, anyone that supports the brand, I mean, my hat's off to you. I mean, without you guys, you riders and stuff, I wouldn't be able to do what I'm doing. I wouldn't be able to keep taking it to the next level after the next level, you know. So shout out to everybody that actually supports the brand, and shout out to everyone that rides or is involved in the BMX community. But back to your question, like I said, there's a long list, and if I'm forgetting anybody, I apologize. Braden, actually, I believe he's from Georgia. This kid, it's actually Syndic Kid something like number wise for his Instagram. You know who I'm talking about, Shane.
Yeah. Isn't he 14 or 15 years old?
I believe so. Yeah, he's a youngin. But his riding skill level right now is just ridiculous. Like, it blew my mind. Now I know he's also he's got some other sponsors, some pretty big sponsors actually, and I'll go ahead and throw a plug for this. Him and I believe it's VHT is throwing a jam down there in Georgia. I don't know the date exactly. I just seen the flyer the other day, and actually I think I'm gonna hop on board also for sponsoring. But if you're down in the Georgia area, look up Braden's Instagram. Like I said, Syndic Kid. Actually, you know what? I'm fumbling here, but I want to find it exactly because I want to make sure this is a good plug here. So, go down there and support the jam that he's throwing. And his Instagram handle is SendItKid69. I don't know why I couldn't remember that. But Braden Godwin, and this kid's a fucking animal. Like, literally, he's got big things in his future. So, other riders, like I said, we got Dami out there in Nigeria. Dude's a beast. He's crazy on a bike. Somewhat new of a rider. I'm gonna have to look up all their Instagram tags just so I know what they are. Barbie BMX 04, I believe is what it is. She's actually from Colombia, but lives in I may pronounce this wrong because I'm from America, but Santiago, Chile, and she's really creating a buzz down there right now. And she just learned how to do, I believe, a 540 the other day from the clip that I've seen. Yeah. So I think she was doing it onto a Resi, but she got it down. But she's doing a lot of street jams down there too. I don't know if she's helping organize them or just participating in them, but I've seen her on YouTube quite a few times here in the past month and a half at these Chile street jams. So shout out to her. She's killing it. I'm trying to think who else new wise. I really wish I could just name off everyone here that's on the team because, like I said, everyone's kind of new because, like I said, it's only been about 5.5 months. But
yeah, well, I know if I can say a suggestion about somebody, I know this past weekend I got to meet a few guys that were on the team that I've only chatted to online, and I got to give a shout out to two of the guys that I met. Landon being one of them. That kid is crazy. His skill level already for being how old he is, he's definitely an upcoming next generation rider. And the kid blew me away with his riding. And then his attitude, he's so down to earth about things.
Oh, very. He's very humble. He's hungry too. You can tell. Like, I have this one clip when, like, literally we first met at Swamp Fest this past weekend. Like, he came up that step up, and I was trying to, like, kind of interview him in a way, like, where you at? Like, I was doing other people. And he's like, I'm at Swamp Fest. And then literally without missing a beat, this kid goes, I want to go off that way and go off the side of there. And I'm like, what? Like, you we can chill if you want, but sure. I was like, all right, I'll get it from this angle and I'll go down and get it from the other angle. And actually I was working on that video earlier today, but yeah, Landon he's amazing. Like, literally his skill level, he's one to watch out for. And
did you see that 180 drop that he did?
That Trey,
did you see it
that Trey filmed?
It made it on.
Yeah.
Yeah. It made it on the Monsters video.
Oh, did it?
Yeah. I sent it to him yesterday, I believe. I seen it was just a quick snippet of it, but he made it in Monsters video.
Oh, hell yeah. Well, shout out
Yeah.
Landon. Yeah. That's all I gotta say about that is just, damn.
But another guy too that we got to meet up with for the first time was Joey.
Oh, well, yeah, Joey Beggs. Shout out Joey. He's a real one. I'll say that.
Honest, if I could say anything, I've talked to Joey plenty of times online. I've never met him in person, but he is probably one of the nicest people to meet in person.
Oh, and I'll second that fully all the way. Yeah. Joey, I mean, he's on the pro team for multiple brands. Brands way bigger than me. But when I had approached Joey about riding for Riot, I literally did not think there was any chance of it at all. But after talking to him and the relationship that me and him have built over the last few months, I mean, it's just been surreal. Like you said, super nice guy, and his talent he's a goat for real. Like
He's a shredder.
Exactly, and that's another
Shredder.
exactly. And there's a plug for the T-shirt. If you have not got it, you're slacking because Joey Beggs has a signature Riot T-shirt called the Shredder, and nothing else needs to be said about it other than go buy one. And you can get those at riotbmx.com. That's riotbmx.com. Literally, if you don't have one, then I don't know what's wrong with you because everyone should probably have one. Buy one for your cousin, buy one for your mama, buy one for the guy down the street at the gas station. I don't care who it is. They all need one. So support Joey, support Riot, and that's all there is to that.
Let's go.
Donovan. Let's talk about Donovan.
Yeah.
We met him actually at the year-end jam up at Mike's bike park in Dayton. It was January 29th, I believe it was?
December 29th.
Or December, yes, December.
Yep.
Donovan, super cool dude. And congratulations to him and his better half, Anna. They just
welcome.
Yep. I'm drawing a blank again.
You know they finally got to bring her home.
Him, Hayes.
Him. Yeah,
Hayes. Yep. That's why I was drawing a blank on the name. I knew it because me and Donovan talk quite frequently too, and yeah, they just got to bring him home. I think it was it last week? I believe so.
I believe it was last week or the week before.
Yep, it was right around there.
He sent me a text message when they finally got to come home.
Yep.
That's another guy that's one of the nicest guys you'll meet in person. I've only met him one time in person, but I talk to him all the time, and he's such a nice, friendly guy.
And like that's something else I'll second too, because Donovan, he's super nice guy. He really is. I mean, words can't begin to describe. Honestly, a lot of the riders I've came across, I mean, everyone's super nice. They really are. Like I said, me and Donovan talk quite frequently. I know he's busy right now with the newborn and the other kids and stuff, but he makes time and I guess finds a good balance for it all too. And shout out Anna because she's very supportive of Donovan. Like she was, I don't know about a month away from having the baby, and she was up there at Mike's with him.
Yeah,
so
not even a month.
Yeah, it was real close. I told my wife, I was like, I wouldn't expect you to be there. You know, you're that close to giving birth. So that was crazy to see that she's that supportive. You know, to be there with him. So
I feel like you need that in your corner, though.
Oh,
especially with a significant other.
Oh, you do. And shout out to my wife. She helps me a lot with the whole brand itself. She actually, her and my wife and your wife was talking when I was up there at Wedgwood. How they're, what do they call it? My wife says that she's an unpaid Riot wife, which I mean. So I don't know what Sabrina, because she's up there running the shop that day. Because you were out riding. I mean, you were in and out, but yeah. So I think they're trying to plan a coup against us, but We'll see.
I think so.
But
I always tell them they're groupies. But
I don't know if I'd say that. That might
maybe hopefully they don't listen to this.
Yeah, I think I'm just gonna cut that out. Maybe I don't know.
No,
No, I'll leave
I
that in
know
there.
I know my wife. I tell you, I couldn't go without her. I know that the shop alone, the amount of work that she's done for the inventory, stickering things, and just keeping my butt on track is I couldn't thank her enough for it.
And on my end, it's literally the same with mine. Like I'm at work during the day, and I still have orders I got to ship out. She's the one shipping them out for me generally. So I mean, because like I said, Riot it's a small brand, guys. I'm not a real big brand. I don't have this big ass warehouse. I mean, I'm very grassroots. So I mean, it's really a family. I mean, it really is a family aspect to it. I mean, my wife helps me with my stuff, like you're saying how yours does with the shop. So I mean, you gotta have that kind of support in general for that kind of thing to work.
You do.
So do you have
So
any other questions then?
yeah, I got one more question.
No, see, I thought I was out of the hot seat.
All right, so what about product wise? Is there any products that you're going to be coming out with, or what should we be looking for in the future?
Well, product wise, some people already know, some people don't, but we will be releasing a frame this year. Um, it's in the works right now, so definitely be on the lookout for when we do drop that. And I will say it is a signature frame for Mr. Shane Smith. And that's all I want to say right now about that. We do have stems. They'll be probably dropping within the next month and a half, so probably about early spring.
That was my question. That was what I was asking, hitting at was the stems, because you had a couple different colorways you were talking to us about too.
Yeah, I believe we're definitely doing black. I mean, that's kind of like a comfort color.
Yeah.
And my build is mostly all black, but we're doing black, gold, purple, and I believe there's one other color without looking at my list what it was. But
Was it blue or red?
yeah, I know it wasn't blue. I don't think it was red either.
I can't remember. I remember looking at the picture when you first came out with them.
Yeah. Yeah. All I
So
guess
you got a couple new shirts out too as well.
we do. The new Mob Tie shirt is going to drop within the next week and a half. So definitely be on the
Get
lookout at
yourself
that.
one.
Yeah, I got to get me one first. Just for product control, make sure quality control is there. We have the RIP the Sesh. That's a new one too. That's already out. So if you don't have a Riot shirt yet, go get your ass one right now, because you're missing out if not.
They're so comfy too, and
That,
they're tagless.
yes, they're tagless. And they are printed right here in America. So, not bad mouthing anybody that doesn't print in America on their clothing, but I wanted to make sure that at least that was in America, USA printed. So that's where that comes from. And that's the thing, like you just said, everyone always says, "Oh, I love the shirts because they're so comfortable," and that's really a good selling point for these shirts. I didn't want something that's gonna be really itchy, and just uncomfortable. Because I mean, who the hell wants to ride in something that's uncomfortable? Who the hell wants to even wear something that's uncomfortable? So
Yeah.
I mean, that's
It's a soft material, and I don't know what the percentage of material that's in it, but it's a really nice fitting shirt. It's not a cheap shirt.
no, you ain't gonna buy this at dollar store. Let's put it that way. Dollar Tree does not have my shirts, so. But yeah, product wise, that I think stems and your signature frame. Well, also, we just released Donovan's signature bars
Signature
too.
bars.
Yep, it's a four piece bar, and honestly, I've been looking at them myself to put on my build, and actually, I just talked to Donovan today about it. He messaged me saying, "Dude, these bars are so nice. Like bar spins feel so great with them. They do come in a 29 width. So I know a lot of people don't like the 29. Cut them down. I mean, they're yours once you buy them. Make them your own, but they're a very great bar, filling wise and looks. We did go with the black on black decals on it, and it turned out phenomenal. I was very impressed with them. So that's the.
I'll tell you what, we actually have 2 pair of them in the shop now.
Yep.
And I've never been a 4-piece guy, but I've been eyeing up maybe buying a set and throwing them on my bike.
Yep, I've always ran 2 pieces on my bikes, but like I said, I'm really thinking about switching over to them. And that's one thing I like to try to do, because I don't want to sell products that I wouldn't use myself.
Yeah.
So like right now, I'm running the original Riot Revolt bars, which is 2-piece. They're 9.4 inch rise. But like I said, I might switch over to the Empire bars, and they're 9.5. So not much of a difference, but it just, I don't know. They just feel like they'd be comfortable. So that's
I think that look on that Colt frame too would look pretty sweet.
They would. And probably won't hear this, but Robbie, shout out to you at Colt. I actually got to meet him this past weekend. It was Saturday I met him. Super cool guy. I got to meet a lot of cool people down there. So, yep, that's that.
Well, I think that's about it for all my questions.
They felt like they're never going to end, so.
Right?
And we're literally just a little bit over an hour. So, I got one more question to ask you, Shane.
What's that?
Now, I know you have been getting messages from certain people that say that, they see your riding and they look up to you. If you had to give a kid, I guess, some direction or advice when it comes to BMX and riding in general, or progression, what would it be?
Just to stick with it. To have fun with it. Don't, I guess, hold on one second, I dropped my phone.
Gotcha.
Just to keep riding, having fun with it. Don't ever let anyone tell you you can't either. If you put your mind to it, you can accomplish anything. Just keep doing it.
And I'll say that's very solid advice, because, I mean, I'm not old by no means, but you just got to keep at it. I mean, I'm not the best rider. That's why I know Shane. But, yeah, just keep at it, guys. So if you're a youngin' that's listening to this, that's literally the number one thing that you can do. Keep having fun.
Don't be nervous to ask for help. Ask questions. It doesn't matter how good the rider is. Like I said earlier, they're just another guy is all it is. Just another guy, another girl, somebody out there shredding that was once you.
Yep. Everyone has to start somewhere. So that's a great piece of advice to take from this podcast, I guess, if you hear it. All right. Well, Shane, I'm glad we could get on a call. Too bad we couldn't do it non-remote, but it's what it is. And guys, this has been Between the Bars, and we're out of here.
See ya.